All right. We got Damo versus G2, baby. If you want to check out my preview for Damo versus G2, then it's in the chat somewhere. But the thing that I set up for this particular scenario is that Damwon, I don't think that's that strong at playing weak side. Whenever Nuguri is played away from, he tends to die a lot. Whenever Nuclear and Beryl are played away from, they tend to die a lot. And I think against the team... Oh, I have two streams on. That's why this is funky. Okay, there we go. So what level of G2 will show up? That's an important question. My food is going to show up, that's for sure, in about 15 minutes. I won't be able to review all the games because I need to go and head out to a show that I got tickets for. So I'm pretty excited for that. I'm going to see Tom Segura live, for those who know who that man is. Nevertheless, Damwon, I think they're very... it's very troublesome with how they play weak side. I think they have a very set way of playing, and their players are not that... they don't have that much depth. And I think coming into best of fives, depth is what matters. Nuguri is very one-dimensional in his approach to the game. Nuclear is very one-dimensional. Beryl is very one-dimensional. And I think the flexibility usually comes from Canyon and Showmaker. They play a lot of champions on the highest level. I think mechanically they are better than their counterpart here, Caps and Jankos. Jankos had some good games in group stage, but he fell very flat against Griffin. So we'll have to pay attention to what Jankos shows up here. Canyon had a wonderful group stage performance, but he played against weak junglers in my eyes. He played against an underperforming Lian, underperforming Ning, and also a Smithy. So Canyon still, even though I regard him very highly coming into the tournament, I still want him to face a Jankos that is playing at the highest level. And I think Canyon is very capable mechanically. He plays way more champions. Nuclear, what is going to happen to Nuclear when he doesn't get to play Kai'Sa? Because I don't think he's going to get away with playing 5 games of Kai'Sa in this best of 5. Maybe he gets banned, maybe he gets picked away. You know, everything that Nuclear plays, I feel like Perks plays better. Beryl, I think, has had a better performance than Mickey in this tournament so far. Beryl can find clutch engages, can play these more mechanical supports. We saw the Poppy, for example, and he found these engages with the Talia wall. That was very interesting. Coach Kim, I think, also a very, very wise man. He has a very insane track record, considering he had Longzhu that won LCK, he was in IG that won the World Championship, and now he's on Damwon. And I think Coach Kim is such a fundamental part behind Damwon's success here, because I think they really came together and got to the World Championship because of him, because before Damwon was very scattered. You could see glimpses of hope in Noguri and Showmaker, but now I feel like they're actually playing as a team. They are very immature in the way they play, but I think that's fine, because that means there is room for a lot of explosivity. G2 Esports are banning Kiana on blue side. So that's already considered a weakness. Kiana blue side ban, which means that G2 are just gonna stay away from it like the poison. You see Jankos is smiling. Elite's ban on red, that's a good ban too. First pick could be potentially Xayah. Let's see if G2 let Kai'Sa through. I like the Xayah first pick. Renekton first pick could also be one, something that's consistently banned. Now with Quinn ban, it could definitely be the case. Damwon showed to play Renekton top, Renekton mid. They like to play it together with the Talia. If they can get the Kai'Sa, Poppy, Talia, Renekton composition again, I think they're going to be very happy. But with the Quinn ban, Damwon is seriously considering the Renekton ban here. But I think Nuguri has more champions to play into it. Renekton ban falls through. Xayah first pick is the most likely. But in the end, they know that Damwon has the prior on Kai'Sa. Beryl has played a lot of Rakan, but I think Beryl is going to look to play the Leona instead, because that is what the go-to choices against Xayah Rakan. Ryze is also up, Kai'Sa is also up. Kai'Sa is the easy choice, because here you want to hide your card for as long as possible. Ryze flex could still be an option, because Ryze seems to be a decent blind pick. Syndra is also open. Damwon didn't care about Syndra bottom. Lee Sin, something that Damwon picked a lot, first 2 on red side during the tournament. Lee Sin into Gragas. I think Jankos is very happy with this, picking Gragas. Very strong base of a composition here for G2. Xayah, Rakan, Gragas. 3 champions you cannot go wrong with. third pick Kayle. Now the question is, Damwon, will they ban Ryze? Will they ban LeBlanc? Ban the better options into Kayle mid. Look to flex Kayle mid to last. Fourth pick support into Raka. Right now G2 have the option of banning Leona, Nautilus. Even then, Damwon could even show up with an Alistar. Not the greatest pick into these three. Probably you don't want to pick Alistar. So that's, I'm going to take those words back. Yasuo is banned. Yasuo is banned. Not sure why. I think Kayle is good into Yasuo, but they're seeing the Gragas, so they're starting to get worried. I think LeBlanc could be a good choice into Kayle. Kayle is a melee champion and doesn't have any ways of protecting herself against the chain. So here, most likely Leona lock-in. Not a big deal, Leona. I'm not going to take some crazy props for that because this is very predictable. Here, I want to see a LeBlanc, honestly, but with Gragas it's a bit worse because Mercury gets so much value and double MR. Syndra also works, good for the setup. Anything that is longer range is pretty good against Kayle. And then we have a Jace lock-in for Wunder. Something I couldn't predict because, honestly, the last time they played Jace, they were very scattered and the game was chaotic. I think against Nuguri specifically, he doesn't want to play the Ornn, he doesn't want to play any specific champions that might counter immobile champions like Syndra and Jace. He's going to go for the more greedy choice, sending Kayle into top. Makes a lot of sense. This is Nuguri we're talking about, the Klepto, the Vladimir, the Kayle. This is all very natural. So I need to listen to the doorbell because, as I said, I ordered food. I'm quite a bit in a rush, but I'm too excited for this specific game because I think the first game is going to set the tone for the rest of the series. G2 is going with simplicity here. They want to start off with something calm and collected. Jace as a blind pick towards Damwon. I like it because you know already that Damwon wants to play Kayle in the top lane, Vladimir into top lane, and Jace has a good matchup into all of those. And Jace, Wunder won his first World Championship game on Jace against RNG. But that scenario was Jace Elise. Elise was banned, and Gragas is the next best thing. Unless you want to play Talia, but Talia is better with some hard CC. So bottom lane matchup, I think ZyraKhan is favored in this. Kai'Sa and Leona has some windows. LeBlanc, Syndra, I think it's a skill matchup depending on jungle. If Lee and LeBlanc can pressure the Syndra, then definitely Syndra's going to be in trouble because the 2v2 is much better for LeBlanc and Lee Sin. Gragas and Syndra, they have a weaker 2v2 because the itemization is too easy. Mercury is going to make the matchup shift too much. MR and Runes is going to make the matchup shift a little bit. Here, the eyes need to be on Nuguri. It's very important that Wunder and Jankos find ways to pressure the Kayle because, as we all know, if Kayle gets untouched in this matchup, eventually Kayle is going to win out. We saw many times at Gunblade, all of a sudden this matchup starts to become very hard because the all-in is all of a sudden a possibility from Kayle. She's going to slow you, she's going to chase you down, chunk you out, and force you out. And the sustenance is just too good for Kayle. So if there's no punishment where Jace can look for that one-shot all-in, where he snowballs the matchup, then Kayle is going to scale. It all comes down to what the junglers do. If Damwon can find pressure through mid into top, that is going to be perfect. Cap's playing something that doesn't allow him to be that mobile. This is more about the 1v1 matchup. When you pick the Syndra, you have to keep E to cancel the LeBlanc W, of course. And in an isolated 1v1, I think Syndra is favored, but just because they have Lee, I think there's a lot of options to punish here. Because in the end, 1v1, if you hit the chain, doesn't matter. If you hit the chain 2v1, it does matter. You get your neck cracked in half. So, we continue. Kai'Sa Leona, eventually, I think, ZyraKhan is so powerful because it's strong at any point in the game. It's rarely you have ZyraKhan in your game and you're like, fuck me, I don't want to have these champions. It is very strong indeed, and I think, I've been thinking about the reason why G2 didn't pick LeBlanc, and that is possibly because if enemy lock in Syndra and they have the LeBlanc and they have the Raz jungle, it's not going to be so good. So my call there on them looking LeBlanc is definitely a lot worse than what G2 presented here. Because Syndra is very good into Rakan, very good into, decent into Jace, honestly, later parts in the game, because you can deny a lot of that damage. Also, if they had LeBlanc Gragas, it would be a weaker 2v2 anyway. So Lee is pretty good into LeBlanc. So it's a good call. In hindsight, I'm willing to admit that I'm wrong on this one. Okay, let's take a breather. Could you give me some water, Alla? Thank you very much. So people complain always when I have my headset not completely on, but I have to listen to the doorbell. G2 having bot prio. Nothing surprising here. I think G2's bot lane is better at laning, unless Mickey decides to not be better at laning, if you know what I mean. He's very inconsistent in his performance, and I don't think it comes down to fucking around anymore. I think it's just a fact that he's very inconsistent. I am not here. Oh, there's the doorbell. What should I do? Okay, pardon me. What was I talking about? Okay, it's 14 o'clock or 16 o'clock. I need to leave around 5 o'clock, and I need to eat before, and I need to get dressed. So Kayle seems to be doing fine in the early matchup here. Jace seems to be healthier. He has Biscuit on as well. Here, Canyon is looking for Gragas. He can win the all-in here if he goes, but Jace... Oh, okay. Canyon doing some juicy moves here. I respect it. G2 spreading their pressure, taking the bottom side crab, but maybe this is gonna end up denying Gragas because he can't go into that bot side. Here, Kayle managed to bounce the wave and managed to get the wave into the tower and base, so this is very strange. I don't think this should happen in the matchup. I think Jace should have better control of the wave. Lee Sin was earlier on the top side, so maybe this is what Jace is respecting. But the dynamic here, it's weird that Kayle gets the base for free like this. Wave top is not frozen. Kayle maybe loses 1 or 2 CS, but maybe 3, because she has no boots. And then now Gragas is on the map with Predator. Cannon clearing his bot side camps. He's gonna get spotted on the wards that G2's bot lane placed. They use their prio to put pressure on the map. Oh, very well played here from Perks, taking that space. You know, very important in Xayah Rakan matchups or lanes is that the initiative needs to come from Xayah. That's a big difference maker with other lanes, is that, you know, with the changes to Rakan W, that the speed has been shifted to when the jump pops. The closer you are with Rakan, the easier it is to land W. So if Xayah is the one that takes initiative and mechanically outplays, then it's very, very good. But here, G2 find a good punish because Nuguri looked to base and catch this wave, and G2 saw this coming and they looked for the big deny here. The ward in the lane, Nuguri is matching Cap's movements here, but very good denial here. Very, very good denial. Nuguri reads it, doesn't die to it, which is good, but the fact that they're trying to punish that Nuguri based and let Jace stack such a big wave, it is absolutely beautiful here that G2 look for the big punish. So Jace gets a huge base, gets a serrated Dirk base, doesn't need to TP on bottom from Jace. This is very good for G2. G2. Okay, run Wunder. Okay. Nice, very good. So you might say, oh, Wunder's TP is very questionable here. But look at the top wave. Look at the top wave. Syndra is in position in the mid lane as well. This TP from Wunder forced TP reaction from Damwon. He flashed out, sure. But the punish is not going to happen. I think Kayle, Lee, punish Jace pre-Lee 6 is just going to be very unlikely. Mercury is finished on LeBlanc, so the 2v2 on mid lane is definitely heavily in favor of Damwon. So we have to pay attention to this. Damwon look for the gank, Jace is looking, he is TPing, he's very happy if Kayle matches his TP, very, very happy. Kayle starts to channel, LeBlanc starts to channel as well. Does she channel? Yeah, she channels very late. So here's the questionable part is, how late Showmaker starts to channel his TP, because here he's recalling, recall, finished already, finished, 1, 2, 3, many seconds have lapsed. So here already the TP, you could have kept the TP or you should have TP'd in the first place, but I don't think it would have made the difference. I think keeping the TP was the right choice. Here the wave bounced and Nuguri is fucked. He's fucked up. This is very good for G2. It's very hard for Damwon to find ways to repair this, but the way they need to do it is through mid lane. They need to look for the punish, Cannon gets 6, look to kill the Syndra, look to manage the wave better, but the fact that LeBlanc TP'd into bottom allowed Syndra to get an advantage here. A lot of things swung in the favor of G2 on this one. Here Showmaker gets comboed. 1v1, this is not a good matchup, not at all. Even with Mercury here, he gets out-traded. Okay, jungle's in the top side, not a lot of mana, needs to stay in the jungle. Bases, fine. Wunder's gonna push out. Here Wunder maybe should look for an all-in because he has a big item advantage. There is a zombie Poro, Ghost Poro right in the middle of the lane there, spotting the waves and spotting Lee if he's going to do some dumb stuff. Cannon is 6 now. Nuguri is level 6 as well. He has a ranged auto attack. Wunder, your window was before, not now, and he has no flash. So this is massive for Damwon. Very good for Damwon that they managed to get this kill. The fact that Jankos needs to base in this position, he was just basing for mana and an amplifying tome. It's not justified. Jankos, if he backs him up, maybe they can win, but the fact that Canyon is 6 and has the XP advantage is a very big deal. Canyon managed to steal the blue, delay Jankos jungle time. He also got the crab top. G2's bot lane was the part of the team that got the bot side crab, so Gragos was super far behind, and this was bound to happen. Canyon transferring his advantage onto the Kayle. Kayle, a very important part of this matchup. Nuclear with a very, very good play here, honestly. Very good play. I've been very critical of Nuclear, but the way he avoids the gank here is phenomenal. Leona used Flash, Nuclear used Flash. So the outcome's still fine for G2, all things considered. The pain will come when G2's level 6 anyway, and you see the poke damage is very high and nasty. Nuclear going for a no mana immune build, which I completely disagree with. I think mana immune is absolutely OP on Damwon Kai'Sa, on any Kai'Sa, not just Damwon Kai'Sa. Let's fast forward to live to see what's going on. G2 are hovering into top side to pressure a dive again. They know that Lee Sin is on bottom side. G2 maybe need to be a bit more careful with how they all in. They're looking to pressure as much as possible on edge. Last time they got ganked, they managed to find... Perks had heal. Maybe he could have healed. He kept heal now. Okay, this is the response from the top situation. They're looking to deny Kayle and trade for bottom. Perks and Mika playing this as good as they can. Battle 1. Showmaker very low HP as well. Okay. Maybe if Perks used his heal earlier, he can look to back off. But Kayle rotates into mid to get some kind of CS out of this. And Syndra committed so far into top that she's not on time. Damwon is going to get a mountain. Full tower is going to fall on top side, because while Damwon responded to G2's commitment into the top side with going into bot side, they were going into bot side in a position where G2 had full prio. So the fact that G2 played so aggressively and had the wave prio in this particular position puts Damwon in a position that they get less than maybe what they would have had if G2 played defensive. So you have to respect this decision making here from G2's bot lane. They're definitely playing on edge. Maybe in this scenario, if they healed earlier, maybe he can walk away with with more HP, and maybe the dive is more difficult. But 1 for 2 and full platings and a turret on top definitely makes this worth it. And Nuguri getting caught and dying here is okay. Is not okay. Not okay at all. Canyon having a beautiful game. Honestly, Canyon is doing super well. G2's bot lane and Cap's prio and movement into top is what is winning G2 the game right now. Caps is having a great game, but it also takes away from the fact that you know Damwon didn't really put any effort into pressuring Caps, and I think when you have LeBlanc and Lee Sin, that's the way to play the game. And Caps managed to find positions where he has prio. LeBlanc is forced to play a 1v1, which he doesn't want to play at all. He doesn't want to play this 1v1. If you you know, if you know Damwon, you know that Showmaker likes to play 1v1 most of the time, and then you need to make sure that he has a good matchup for that 1v1. If you want to play a 1v1 isolated scenario, maybe you pick an Echo here. Then Echo into Syndra, you can win that 1v1, you look to snowball on your own. But like this, you know, Damwon didn't accomplish much through mid, and Caps was very effective. Even though his stats don't tell the tale, his roams into mid is what, roams into top is what put Kayle so far behind. Damwon are looking to trade. G2 are not so interested in swapping Xayah into the bot side because they don't have a tower on top. But now the question is Damwon just getting too much out of this decision? Because here Kayle is going to be able to defend bottom. He has to respect the Gragas, but LeBlanc is hovering as well. Considering LeBlanc is hovering here, they're preventing any dive that might happen to Damwon on bottom. And Damwon's going to get way more on top side. This is not the lane assignment that you want. Jace wants to be against Kayle. Even though Xayah probably wins Kayle, it's not as hard as the Jace because Jace has a threat of going all in. Xayah doesn't have one. She's just going for the tower. No biggie. And G2 managed to defend top, and Perks just takes tower. But still, Damwon got a lot of platings on top. And you have to ask yourself, if Xayah was matching on top side, maybe there is no Herald in the first place for Damwon. So Damwon gets a Herald, get the platings on top, and very late now G2 are matching the lanes. My girlfriend also ordered food, so I'm gonna get interrupted at any point in time. I'm gonna take a sip. All right. Watching Tom Segura today. I'm really excited. Super hyped. Super hyped. Oh, there's the food. Right back. Alright. Alright, fellas. Yeah. What's cooler than being ice cool? Oh shit, I fucked it up. Okay, G2 turret. Jace chilling in mid lane, giving them prio, and then they're hovering into bot side. G2 playing a good pressure game, even though the decision to send Xayah into bottom is questionable. Because I think they could have denied the rift and potentially gone for top tower, but I don't want to rewind that much. Maybe they were just too behind on tempo to go for such a play. But I don't want to rewind right now. I am low on time, so I'm okay with being completely false on this one. But the position you want to be in is to completely match your lanes. You want to keep Jace into Kayle. You want to keep your bot lane into enemy bot lane. Because here I felt like Damwon got a lot of unnecessary breathing room. Here Kayle still, when this game position right now, G2 super far ahead, Kayle is super far behind. That's the win condition for Damwon. Lee Sin being ahead is fine and all in the early game. And they used it to kill the Jace once. But now Lee Sin being ahead doesn't matter too much. G2 is going to look to play a game that is revolved around mid lane prio. Here Perks has all the information for his push onto bottom and times it very well and walks away. Got the prio on bottom. Damwon's gonna look to catch. And Xayah should rotate into mid lane here definitely. Perks is looking to contest. He's posturing. Like this a lot from Perks. Didn't get hit by a single Lee Sin Q yet. Perks is confident. Taking the aggressive path. Very nice. As was showing on bot wave. Usually a lot of AD carries will struggle here to find the position together with your team, because here my thought process was that Xayah is going to walk around here and then go here, but he was confident enough to walk through the enemies. Doesn't get hit by the Lee Sin Q and just went for it. So Canyon definitely the fact that he stole blue and got the crab, and G2 bot lane took bottom crab, put jungles behind, gave Canyon level 6 first, boom, the gank happened on top side, denying blue, G2 finding all of these small objectives over and over, small advantages that accrue over time. The blue buff steal, here they're looking for the dive. Very important that Wunder recognizes that the map is divided here and he's in no position to defend. Very good strategically placed ward there on the crab. Nuguri now walking a bit too far, but Kayle has been changed that his ultimate doesn't cost any mana. Used to be 100. So here, for a moment, I was like, this is danger, danger, danger for Nuguri, but it's too big of a risk for Wunder to go for. All right. Perks is probably the best AD carry in the world to understand how side lanes works, because he's one of the best players in the world to understand how side lane works. And it's incredible how much Caps has improved in how he plays side lane ever since he has worked together with Perkovic. I think Perks does unbelievably much for this team, and I think for the first time, Perks is surrounded by players that can actually take that in. So I think Perks is an amazing player. Fantastic player. I think when it comes to the greatest European player of all time, I think Perks is, I would have to think about it a bit more, but I think Perks is definitely my top 2, if not number 1. I'm too afraid to say a statement like that because I can't really think about any different players right now, but very decorated. Oh, Showmaker. Oh. So let's take a step back. So Wunder gave up on top side, rotated into mid lane. G2 kept bot lane prior, they're playing on 2 waves. But here, Showmaker is looking for the W on the wave, and he just gets fucking eat by Caps and clapped in the head. G2 can continue because their siege is so powerful here. Very little wave clear from Damon's side. Jungles tries to E in, but Canyon gets out, and Damon's composition doesn't have many comeback tools. Sure, if Kayle manages to get a monster ahead here, but the pace that G2 is keeping of the game, pressuring only 2 lanes, not getting too greedy with how much they pressure, they're not giving Damon that much back. Nuguri is allowed to farm safely, but on 2 lanes, G2 is pressuring much harder. Canyon is looking for a kill now on Wunder, but Wunder understands his role in this game very well. We've seen that. He understands that he just needs to catch and rotate, because they're playing heavily onto mid and bottom, which is the Xayah lane and the Syndra lane. And if they play on 2 lanes and get pressure on 2 lanes, Damon naturally is going to get in the third if they want to, meaning if they send people on that side or they don't, the risk is too high if you want to play on 3 lanes. You know you're going to be in a winning position if you pressure 2 lanes. So I really like this. Once again, we're going to see here Wunder if he pushes the next wave, probably because he's going to pass the river. So here he's just going to solve the fact that if this slow push is going to lose too much CS, he's going to push the next one. You can go for it. It's past the river. It's okay, Wunder. Go for it. You see Lee Sin on the Raptors as well. Okay, all good. And now he's going to go into mid lane again. The wave is going to bounce. Or in a scenario where Xayah Rakan and Gragas rotate into mid and Sidra hovers on top, the whole play can shift, meaning that they ignore bottom and they play away from bottom, they play into mid and into top, they look for the top tower with the wave that Jace is building. Right now, G2, it seems that they just hover for one wave, and then now they're going to hover into bottom again. G2 don't have any TP, so Damon have that advantage, and G2 with how compact they're playing only on 2 lanes is gonna deem these TPs quite useless, because as long as you win your lanes and you play on 2 lanes only, TP is not a tool that makes you be able to catch enemy off guard. Very beautiful here how G2 managed to push in every wave and play as efficiently as possible, meaning that they caught the bottom wave, pushed it all the way, and then hovered into mid lane, let Jace push all into top, Syndra doing blue, was all in fog, and then they rotated into this side. So G2 see this play from miles away. See it from miles away. This is desperation from Damwon. They're going to lose the position onto mid lane. G2 might push for mid tower here. This might be inhib potentially. Definitely bottom tower as an option too. Nevertheless, Damwon, if you make such a play and you don't get anything out of it, your position is so wrong. You see everyone stuck on this side of the map and they can't face shake into mid lane. But it seems like G2 are just happy with taking mountain. But honestly, I think they wasted a lot of time here. I think they could have pushed the mid wave, walked all the way up. They could have pushed the bottom wave, maybe play for a bottom tower. But maybe they're afraid of Damwon's decision. If they show, maybe Damwon is sticking around Nashor and they go for it again. But I think with the vision G2 had and with how Jace was positioning, I think G2 could have been a bit more aggressive in their approach there. Because the Nashor from Damwon is not that great. Void Staff is finished to counteract all these Mercury boots for Syndra. He's going to go Death Caps next, most likely. Stopwatch is a very good buy to deny any potential Leona plays. Let's see if Nuclear is good enough to use, you know, the Kayle ult combo later on in the game. But right now, G2 are very happy. 2 mountains. Nashor is going to be a target. G2 still with no TP advantage or no TP at all to match the Kayle in the bottom. So a lot of CS are going to be dying to the turret. And Damwon are going to save a lot of time here with the crab. So potentially Nuguri can take the bottom tower if he wants to, but he's going for a Gromp instead, grouping. I don't think this is necessary. I think this is your window to pressure Nuguri. If you're not pressuring bottom, then G2 are not losing any time at all here. The moment the crab is gone and the moment G2 take full control of this top side, Nuguri is going to realize that, holy shit, I have to fight and I don't want to fight yet. So here Nuguri could have definitely started hitting the mid tower, bottom tower with that wave. He has TP, that's what they need to play on. When 3 minutes hits and Wunder can match bottom, that's going to be a massive problem. G2 run into also a classic problem here that who tanks the Nashor. That's going to be difficult. Wunder no TP grouping on mid lane. Now G2 is stepping up. Sweeper needs to be used. There's a ward here that Damwon placed. Damwon are playing a very defensive game. Kayle is hitting the tower now. I think one way too late, but this is what needs to happen. G2 realize that they're on a bit of a clock. They need to look to force the Nashor as soon as possible. Jace is hovering into bot side. Damwon will be able to retake full Nashor space. So all of this time that G2 invested when Jace shows on bottom, this is going to be a very free way for Damwon to take over the Drake space once again. Ooh! Ooh! Nuguri! That's the biggest klepto move I've ever seen, man. That is... The fact he gets away with this shit is crazy. Damwon didn't manage to get that much pressure off of this. Top wave is bouncing, but here they should group on mid lane and pressure this wave. Xayah is showing now on this wave that was slow pushed. Instead, they are just hovering around in their own jungle, and I think Damwon look quite lost. This was an opportunity to pressure. Jace was showing on bottom, and this was an opportunity for you to gain some breathing room by clearing a lot of G2's vision. But instead, Jace gets to push bottom for free with no TP on. Now TP is on. G2 catch top wave, and Syndra gets Prior all alone. So Damwon don't use this opportunity to pressure. They were spotted on wards, and they were just hovering in their own jungle. I think this is a mistake, and I think Damwon could have gotten more in this situation. Now when Jace has TP, Nuguri pressure onto bottom is not going to happen. It seems like Damwon are just looking to find a team fight, but I think that's heavily in the favor of G2. If Showmaker can find the pick or Canyon can find a beautiful kick, then yeah, sure, a situation can shift. Leona has some tools as well to catch someone, but I think if both teams play perfectly, then G2 has the better conditions now to win a fight. Interesting build here for Syndra. Full magic pen. EQ starting to hurt from Wunder. He didn't go for a lethality build, he has Black Cleaver here, so he's a bit more of a tankier version. I don't know if this is what makes him win the matchup against Kayle, but I personally saw no reason behind the Black Cleaver here. Didn't see much reason behind the Klepto either. I think the Klepto numbers here of Kale and Jace are probably toilet. Okay. G2, full control over Nash now. Mickey doing the Lehen's move here. His team can't really follow over the wall. Jankos take a lot of damage tanking this. He is not... is he itemizing towards Zonya? Because Zika's arm guard is very important. Perks, no cleanse, Perks. Manages to flash away. Big stun. Ooh, big stun. Nuclear, everyone's so fucking low. Everyone's so low. Showmaker 1 HP is burning. Oh, that EQ went to Zimbabwe and Madagascar at the same time. Okay, let's rewind that tape. Let's rewind this tape. Okay. So, G2 start to tickle the Nash. Jankos not tanky enough to hold it. They are looking for the turn. Showmaker in position, looking to W in. Perks, no cleanse here, very important. Manages to get the flash off before the solar flare lands. Very important. Here could be the difference between death or, yeah, no death. So Perks being very greedy, not flashing before. He just wants to get as much as possible out of it, which is the case here. He manages to flash the solar flare. You know, in other cases, you want to Q ult here with Leona. I don't know why Beryl didn't do it. Slow hands. Slow hands. Mickey finds a counter engage. He goes for Kale. Is that the right target? Considering here, he could have charmed a lot more people. He could have gone onto this space here. Good flash from Nuguri to survive. A lot of things to pay attention to here. Nuclear steps into it. Showmaker gets a lot of value, but the stun is humongous. I think the stun really saves the fight. The ult is timed decently on Nuclear. It still blocked 2 balls of damage. And then afterwards, I just think this became slightly difficult because of no cleanse here on Perks. If Perks has QSS, this is going to look a lot more cleaner because he got caught in this fight. And there was a world where Beryl just fucking completely one-shots Perks together with the spells. Showmaker gets a lot of damage off as well. Let's rewind that one more time to make sure we didn't miss anything. What did Canyon do in this fight? So Canyon misses a Q, walks in, gets knocked in the head by balls. Then he gets out-attacked, misses another Q, kicks Jankos into Mickey. Wasn't good enough, dies for it. Okay. Let's pay attention to Nuclear now. Let's take a step back. Nuclear, punching, ulting into all of the enemies, asking for the Kale ultimate, and then he flashed out. Did a lot of damage, honestly. It's not too shabby. It was okay. But the fact that he was forced to flash out afterwards, I think it's a good play, honestly, because I think if this doesn't happen, G2 just fucking destroys this pile of Damwon players that are just stacking up here. Nuclear finding some space for his team. I think this was necessary for the fight. Showmaker flash W there. A lot of important summoners being burned. Wow, what a fight. I think to summarize, you know, G2 are finding difficulties because it's hard for them to tank the Nashor. But I think if Mickey is around here shielding and healing Jankos, I think it's definitely possible. He's trying to look for the engage. And here it starts with Perks posturing so far up and Beryl finding him. I think in a scenario where this doesn't happen, this fight isn't as close as we saw. And also, massive stun here from Caps saves the whole situation because it was quite disastrous how Perks was positioning. So, first big mistake here from Perks. Not really paying attention to Beryl's position. Beryl finding him, and that could have ended a lot worse if Beryl actually Q into R. We're gonna see another replay of it. Okay, Perks, there's the E. The R lands, and then the charm is there. I think Mickey potentially could save him as well by Wing the Leona, and then the team looks to actually one-shot the Leona, so the Leona doesn't have an opportunity to Q and R, because here Mickey presses R and charms Leona while Perks is in his own ultimate. So this is something that they could have coordinated better. Maybe if Perks gets rooted, he doesn't ult and he just walks away and the charm lands. Or they just look to one-shot Beryl straight off the bat here, but Mickey is going for the Kayle instead. Nuguri flashes out from the Jace Q. Wunder flashes from the chain. Very good flash from both Wunder and Nuguri to save the situation, and then the red buff and the crit. Honestly, otherwise this would be heavily in favor of Damwon. We have a 2 for 2. A lot of summoners being burnt, and here the QSS is finished. QSS is finished now on Xayah, and this makes the team fight so much harder. When you have defensive items, the team with defensive items is going to be able to survive better with no flash. Battle still has flash. Maybe the target would be Caps, but Caps kept his flash. So now there is no improvement to Damwon's position in the game after this fight. No improvement at all. Gragas just needs to beat Tonk. Nuguri no flash. Looking for it. Okay. Damwon can't react. Jace Syndra on bottom with TP. Very smart play here. Big shift in mindset the moment G2 have TPs and Damwon didn't have TPs. You can see how G2 are using it so much more. I think G2 is just a more well-rounded team. And as long as that's the case, I think Damwon will struggle in a BO5 against G2. Let me just check the time, pardon me. Okay, it's half 5. I'm good on time. Oh shit, I need to charge my phone. Okay. Oh, okay, they got inhib. So they pushed all the way to inhib. Okay, let's take a step back. So much happened while I was back in. G2 are pushing because obviously the response is very difficult to make here from Damwon. G2 played this fucking beautifully. I need to charge my phone because I need to play Pokemon Go while I'm out watching the show. I'm going to do my best to not get spoiled, and then we're going to continue with these reactions, of course. G2. Very well played here. Damwon are forced to react to the Nashor space. They can't commit completely into bottom. And that's an inhib. Very nice. LeBlanc is far from reaching any particular power levels. Perks is monster fed. Caps, Wunder, super strong. Nuclear needs to be the one that carries. But Xayah is honestly stronger at this point in time. And yeah, Nuclear Perks is stronger at any point in time. Level 16 Kayle now. Will it be the difference maker? He's buying Lich Bane. Sure, there's some room still if there are mistakes that happen from D2's side and Damwon get a catch, like the previous fight that we saw, then things can massively shift. Cap soon on Banshee, and the opportunities to find these miraculous catches are becoming slimmer and slimmer. Nuguri now grouping. Realizes that doesn't want to TP into this fight, and G2, if they control this Raptor bush, then I think this ward has been a sneaky ward that's been there the entire game. G2 need to improve on their sweeper play a bit more, and this is something that can be easily fixed between games if they recognize that this is an issue. The sweeper is constantly giving, this ward is constantly giving Damwon a lot of safety. They're going towards Nashor now, and now the sweeper is being used. And G2 are starting Nash, because usually here, if you manage to get this space and you sweep all the way, then Damwon is in trouble. Big trouble. Wunder is out of position here. Mickey is not. So here G2 starting to take less damage from Nash, but Beryl finds a huge engage. And there's the cannon. Oh! Holy shit! Oh my goodness! Oh, Syndra TP. Syndra TP. It's a Syndra TP, but everyone's basing. Everyone's basing. This is a Nasher denial TP. Nasher denial TP. Showmaker could potentially chase, but he could die. Caps has ultimate. My goodness. This team fight. Barrow's flash engage was magnifique. Very, very good. But here, it didn't look like G2 had a plan on how they wanted to execute the Nash. Do they want to turn? Do they want to finish? And then they were stuck in between. They were stuck in a position where, oh, we need to back off. They backed off. Barrow cut them in half. Because look at this. Wunder's position is so off. G2 are in no position to finish this Nasher. Nuclear on his Kai'Sa with the W and the blue trinket spots everything that's going on here. Damwon, clearly see, 9,000, boom. Wunder, out of position, Wunder. Here, look at Wunder. He is right where my face is. With that being said, why is this here? With that being said, G2 now are in a position where they need to back off. And boom, Beryl with a monster engage. Monster engage on Beryl. Monster engage. Beryl, Beryl, Beryl. Boom. Solar flare lands, and then that root is enough to deliver nuclear. Boom, look at that. Boom, ult damage. Mickey is low. Caps is low. Perk survives. Jankos dies. Wunder is in deep. Also dies. Managed to get the kill before he dies though. And then boom. The feathers come through. Nuclear. Charging his W. What a wonderful fight here. G2 though, the way they forced Nasher. Very, very bad. Frustrated because this is allowing Damwon to take better decisions. These sweepers need to improve. They just need to improve. Simple and clear cut. G2 going for a different approach. Bottom inhib is on and they're just running it down mid lane. Not so much wave clear on Damwon, they need to look for that engage again. Maybe taking Nasher has just given Damwon an opportunity to engage because Damwon has played a very good defensive game here, managing to find wards, to find as much information as possible on G2's decision, because that's what it comes down to. G2 want to make Damwon blind and then make their decision harder and harder, lower their probabilities. But as long as G2 are getting spotted on wards, it's not going to be the case, because once again here, you see this ward, Mickey is getting spotted, is going to give Damwon breathing room. Mickey is spotted. And then boom, Mickey is spotted. Once again, this ward, beautifully placed, is keeping Damwon in the game here, because they know Mickey is in this bush. He gets spotted. Canyon is looking for a pick. Wunder looking for the burst. Mana immune, not enough. Muramana. Now, all of a sudden, with the control of this bush and this bush, even though Mickey was spotted here, it's not enough, because only Mickey was spotted. So Damwon needed to be careful with how they face check, and boom, finally we get a Nasher. Canyon gets one-shotted, clippity clapped, and G2 should be able to end the game right off the bat. Cancel on Beryl. Canyon is dead, looking for that steal. Regardless of how you felt about this game, you know, it was very evident to me that G2 is in such a position that the game should be over. Damwon managed to stay in the game for quite some time, and G2's composition gave them a lot of room for a couple of mistakes, but the nuclear Kai'Sa Kale Cannonball definitely caused a lot of pain and headache for G2. G2 win game 1, and this was cool. All right. All in all, a good first game. I'm going to go off and I'm going to review the rest of the games later in the day. With that being said, thanks so much for watching. If you sneeze during this broadcast, then bless your face, bless you, and bless your soul. G2 seem like the more well-rounded team. I think it can only continue in this fashion, where Damwon are trying to out-mechanic their way out of situation. Canyon had a better performance because of that steal, and Jace was meant to die on this gank, because I don't think Gragas can save that situation. The wave bounced, and Gragas was not 6. So with that being said, you know, we have an interesting series, but G2 definitely seem like the stronger, more well-rounded team, while Damwon is more the team with the flair and more of the individual skill. Which is funny when you think of G2 in that context, because I just think Nuguri and Showmaker are very, very good individually. Canyon mechanically is also really nuts, but it doesn't seem to be enough to beat G2. So if they can find drafts where their mechanical skill definitely excels and this can be showcased a lot more and used a lot more, then maybe Damwon has more options. But G2 macro-wise, you can see how crisp they are, and I think it comes at the hands of Perks. So with that being said, I bid you adieu one more time. Peace.